Carter entered the next town late in the evening for good reason. With a bottle of whiskey, he rented a room in the hotel. Sitting down at the table in the small room, he poured himself a glass. St. Peter sat on the bed. He had washed himself down at the horse trough. He started to look exhausted from life on the road. "Might as well get on with it," Carter said after 2 glasses. "What?" the Reverend responded in a startled voice. The older man emptied a 3rd glass before answering. "Yeah, saloon, info, you know the drill." "No, I'm done. I almost died in a desert. I'm on a mission to Mexico." Feeling annoyed by the other man, the outlaw sighed and took his gun. Drawing back the hammer, he pointed at the priest. "You go or I'll shoot you. You come back or I'll find you and shoot you. Got that?" What kind of man would shoot a servant of the Almighty? "I'll shoot everyone getting between me and Dabney, so don't think about informing the sheriff." Carter's voice remained even. The father's voice, on the other hand, grew heated the more he talked. "God spared your life, and what did you do with all the time he gave you? Wasted it on hatred." "There's nothing to waste." Carter scoffed, fed up with the people trying to talk him out of his plan. "Now get to work. May God have mercy on you one day." The statement was followed by angry footsteps and the door being shut. Looking out the window, Carter saw the priest follow his command. Without a church's attire, he would be safe this time. Carter spent his time drinking, feeling his mind swim in the liquor. He leaned back. He even dozed off a bit, listening to the silence in the room. He awoke when he heard glass shattering down on the street. Seeing the priest on the ground facing a man with a gun, he got up. "Damn it, Peter, you had one job." He took his hat and went down. His companion didn't say anything as he sat there in the dirt. He only stared at the weapon which was about to end his life. Before the stranger could fire, Carter shot the gun out of his hand. With the head drawn into his face, he was sure to not be recognized as he came closer to shield the priest. The man from the saloon was stunned for a moment. Carter pointed his own gun at him. "Leave him," he said in an icy tone. When the tall man went to pick up his weapon, Carter stopped him. "Go back inside. You can pick it up later." Reluctantly, the stranger obeyed. "Get up," Carter spoke in a rough voice. Taking the priest by the shoulder, he ushered him back to the room. "Get inside." Closing the door, he let out his anger. "I never met a man so completely incompetent," he thundered as if he was still in the army. "Ask questions, be discreet. What did you do?" "He's on his way to Arizona," St. Peter uttered calmly, trying not to tremble. "What?" "The man you're looking for, he passed through to the west. Says he wants to fight the Apaches." Carter needed a moment to understand. Feeling suddenly weak, he sat down. "He's waiting for me." "How can a man be that obsessed?" Carter was about to avoid the topic when the father got up. He was starting to stand up for himself, and Carter couldn't help but like that. "I'm putting my life on the line here, Carter. I have a right to know." "Then you should leave." Carter threw the father the cross he had taken back then. "Get lost." "No." A moment of silence followed in which they locked eyes. "He killed my family," Carter stated plainly. "I came to find my home in flames." "Vengeance is not the right path." Carter scoffed and turned away. The priest didn't understand. He would never understand. No one would. "There is good in you. I see it every time you use reason instead of violence. You could have shot that man. That was self-preservation. You shouldn't trust a man like myself." Carter bit back the bitterness that threatened to overwhelm him. That man in front of him was starting to have compassion for him. Not long and Carter would return the sentiment. He hadn't killed that part of himself yet. He didn't want to. He didn't choose to become a demon of vengeance. It simply was the only thing keeping him going. Taking his gun, he threatened the priest. "You get out," he hissed, "or they'll have to carry you. You were a man tasked to protect people. You tell me you're going to shoot an unarmed man without reason. You want to find out? I will die when the good Lord commands it. I'm not afraid." The display of blind faith caused Carter to lower the barrel. "We ride at dawn." It was barely starting to get light outside when Carter sneaked out of the room. Mounting Runner, he trotted out of town. By the time St. Peter would wake up, he would be long gone. It wasn't polite, but it was the best solution. The next town was a miss. Sitting in the back of the saloon, Carter observed the other folks for hours. No Dabney. He moved on as soon as he was certain. The next town proved to be the wrong one as well. In the third, he had to stay for the night. Runner needed a pause and drain, and he needed rest. Twice he woke up, searching for the intruder in the room, but it was just a pair of feet shuffling past his door. Apart from that, his sleep wasn't disrupted. Perhaps the knowledge of Dabney being close let his conscience relax, taking from him the burden of nightmares, just for a while. When dawn approached, he went outside to the water trough. Still half asleep and washing his face, he saw a figure from the corner of his eye. A man with blonde hair was just disappearing behind a house. Carter needed a moment to process what he saw. It seemed so unreal. Sprinting after the person, he only found a woman. Where did he go? Who? Carter knew she was lying. He just knew. Dabney had to be here. There was a man here. Where are you hiding him? She only stared in shock, and Carter knew she recognized him by his scars. Feeling Dabney slip through his fingers, he took her by the arm. "Get away from me, Yankee!" she screamed when his grip hurt her. She tried to free herself, stumbled and fell. Carter took his pistol. "Come out, Dabney!" he called with the barrel pointing at the woman. Just as he was about to shoot, another voice called out, "Enough, Carter!" Slowly Carter turned around, not believing his ears. "If it ain't St. Peter," he mocked the man who had just entered town by the looks of it. He even had managed to procure a horse. "This is not who you are." The man continued, stepping closer after dismounting. "Yeah? And how would you know?" Carter challenged, looking for a fight. "Stop with this nonsense. You almost killed an innocent person. Can't you see what it does to you?" "He's right in front of my nose. This is none of your damn business." "This is murder. You will go to hell for that." "Then so be it," Carter retorted gravely. He wanted to turn back to the woman, but she was gone. Not thinking, he turned around and pulled the trigger. The father was dead before hitting the ground. "Told you to not stand in my way." Going back to Runner, he just saw a man right away. He glanced over his shoulder right at Carter. He smiled. Not thinking, Carter mounted to follow. Dabney let himself be chased until the town was well out of sight. Then he stopped. "I thought I should finish what I started, especially since you wanted me either way." The first sentence had been marked by arrogance. The next one, however, showed a hint of anger in the man's tone. "I make you pay for what you did." Seeing Dabney dismount, Carter did the same. He didn't want to just shoot him. He wanted to see him die in agony. And judging from Dabney's bearing, he was aiming to do the same. "You bushwhackers are all the same in the end. Nothing but traitors," Dabney kept taunting. "At least I didn't burn no houses." The fact that the killing of Federals upset Dabney gave Carter a certain amount of satisfaction. Now they were starting to get even. The outlaw smiled wolfishly before attacking. He dealt a punch to the face. Dabney returned one in the stomach. Carter kicked him against the shin. Dabney took him by the hair. Ignoring the pain, Carter got up and tackled the other man to the ground. They rolled through the dust as none of them could get the upper hand for long. Once Carter had him pinned to the ground beneath him, he kept hitting the other man. "You know," he panted, "once I'm done here, I keep shooting Yankees. For you." The threat seemed to pour oil into Dabney's flame. He spit blood into Carter's face, who, upon wiping it away, let his guard down. Dabney wedged a knee between himself and his attacker and pushed Carter away. Having free range, he kicked the outlaw into the face. Carter felt his nose crunch as stars prevented him from seeing. Shaking his head, he tried to clear it. "I always meant to tell you, Carter," Dabney boasted while getting to his feet. "You have good taste in women. Fought like a mountain lion." He came closer. "But in the end, I got her too." A punch sent the man back to the ground as he tried to get up. His blood was boiling from the revelation. "Your boy was still alive at that time." Bleeding out from the bullet in his stomach. The next punch Carter caught before it could hit him. With his other hand, he grabbed the man's collar and dragged him down as he came to his feet. He didn't give Dabney a pause or an opening. He just kept kicking, completely sure that almost every rib must have been broken by the time he came down. "Shouldn't have come after me alone," Carter remarked. Going back to Runner, he took the Springfield. "And you shouldn't underestimate me," Dabney growled from behind. Carter had barely turned around when a piercing pain emerged from his eye. He cried in pain when Dabney pulled the knife out of the wound. "Son of a bitch!" Carter felt dizzy from the pain. His one hand still clasped the rifle, the other covered his eye. Dabney leaned closer so they stood only inches from each other. "Stay with me, Carter. I want to gut you like you did it to them." Pulling the trigger, the rifle fired into the air, momentarily stunning Dabney. Carter fired again, unable to aim properly with one hand. The next round hit Dabney in the shoulder. "Shot him in the stomach, eh?" Carter said, taking the other hand away from his bleeding eye. Before Dabney could answer, a bullet hit him just below the ribcage. He fell backwards, gasping and twitching. Carter stepped closer as he lay there on the ground. A red stain on his shirt was growing. Dabney tried to speak, but only blood came when his lips parted. The cold, arrogant eyes showed fear, the fear of death. Carter kept watching. Putting his foot onto the wound, he slowly increased pressure, causing Dabney to groan in pain. He enjoyed it for a moment before going back to observing. When the other man's gaze finally broke, Carter felt nothing. He had expected joy or peace. He felt nothing. If anything, then this last deed had burned away what had remained of his soul. He wanted more. He wanted it to end.